there's a lot of potential for aggressive expansion. So which of you fine gentlemen would like to join our team? Oh, there's only one spot open right now, so we're gonna have tryouts.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and I am very excited that the comic book industry is finally kind of getting back to normal after the shutdown, and we're moving towards our first big event, DC's Dark Knight's Death Metal, the sequel to Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's wild runaway hit, Dark Knight's Metal. And while Marvel was snoozing during the pandemic, taking the time off, we know that DC were working hard, and Scott Snyder in particular was expanding what Dark Knight's Death Metal was going to be. He said that they were adding new books. He had already announced a couple of anthology series, and yesterday he announced 3 new one-shot series that we're going to talk about here today. So I'm going to read the article from CBR.com, give you the details, and then my friend Dylan from The Real Comic Book Gamer is going to join me, and we're going to talk about general feelings about these 3 books, and then talk about them specifically, the writing and art teams, the covers, what we think is going to happen, and which ones we're really excited for. First, let's read the article from CBR.com. DC's upcoming event, Dark Knight's Death Metal, will receive 3 48-page one-shots that take place after its 3rd issue in September, featuring the Justice League's Trinity facing 3 of the most powerful villains in the DC universe, the Batman Who Laughs hunting the Flash family, and the possible end of the multiverse. Dark Knight's Death Metal Trinity Crisis #1 by writer Scott Snyder and artist Francis Manapul reunites Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman as they face the Dark Multiverse versions of the Anti-Monitor, Superboy Prime, and Darkseid. Dark Knight's Death Metal Speed Metal #1 by writer Joshua Williamson and artist Eddy Barrows and Eber Ferreira, with a cover by Howard Porter, finds the Batman Who Laughs looking to obtain Wally West's Dr. Manhattan powers, with the Flash family aiding the hero. Finally, Dark Knight's Death Metal Multiverses End #1 by writer Joshua Williamson. That is in fact a typo. It is actually James Tynion IV and artist Juan Gedeon, and a cover by Michael Golden features a motley crew of heroes, including Captain Carrick and Gardner, attempting to save the multiverse from utter destruction. So that is a short and sweet article from CBR.com with the bare bones of the information. Now let's talk to Dylan from The Real Comic Book Gamer about our thoughts on these 3 one-shots and what we're really excited about. Yeah, we finally, it was such a dead period. The only thing that we were hearing about really was Diamond and maybe some of DC's future plans. Now we're finally hearing, some more concrete information. Obviously, we had heard that Scott Snyder was expanding his Dark Knight's Death Metal while they were on break during coronavirus. We'd heard that there were a couple of, anthology series coming out. Not exactly what was really getting me excited, but today we learned there are 3 48-page one-shots that are coming out. I believe it's in September. How excited are you for Dark Knight's Death Metal Trinity Crisis, Speed Metal, and Multiverse's End?
So I'm really excited for 2 of the 3. I think Trinity Crisis looks really cool and has a great creative team with Scott Snyder and Francis Manapul. I love Francis Manapul. He's one of my favorite artists working today, and I've liked the majority of stuff that Scott Snyder does, and I'm excited to see how this goes. The cover itself isn't too great. I think Superboy Prime looks cool, but those 3 standing on the planets doesn't look too great. I'm not the biggest fan of Superman's design in Dark Knight's Death Metal, but the concept of it sounds cool. Them going into this castle and taking on the dark metal versions of the Anti-Monitor, Darkseid, and Superboy Prime all sounds like a cool concept to me. I'm in. Speed Metal sounds really cool as well. I always love when the Flash family gets together, and them getting together for the first time since Heroes in Crisis has me excited. And also continuing off where Flash Forward left us, because that was insane. So seeing where that left us and now continuing that, I'm really excited for it. And Multiverse's End, the concept of it doesn't sound too great. The cover's not that exciting. I like the creative team. Juan, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's a good artist. James Tynion's a solid writer. But the concept of it doesn't sound too great to me. I think it's cool that Guy Gardner's in it at least, because we haven't seen him really do much in a while. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the 3 books initially.
I'm pretty excited. I'm still holding out hope that we are going to get those like the comics that we got from Dark Knight's Metal, where we got like the origins of all the evil versions of Batman, the Dark Knights. Hopefully those will come out. Although I'm starting to think that that's probably not going to be the case. We're probably not going to get a origin story for T-Rex Batman, or I think there's a monster truck Batman. I think there's even like a sentient city Batman. So I don't know that we'll be getting those, but these are definitely a step in the right direction, and I'm pretty excited. Let's talk about these individually. I'm going to read off the solicitations along with the creative team, and we'll kind of talk about specifically about them. So Dark Knight's Death Metal Trinity Crisis #1, that's going to be written by Scott Snyder, art by Francis Manapul. With Superman freed from his new Apocalypse prison, the classic Trinity lineup is back together and ready to rock their next gig. Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman amp up their power to launch an assault on Castle Bat, and that's just the warm-up act. 3 walking nightmares are hidden deep inside the fortress, but these dark multiverse versions of the Anti-Monitor, Superboy Prime, and Darkseid hold the key to humanity's survival. The Justice League have to face down their old nemesis, but will round 2 to the end of our heroes. So there's a lot of good information. Like you said, a few minutes ago, they are going to be fighting versions of the Anti-Monitor, Superboy Prime, and Darkseid within, apparently the sentient Bat Castle. So that does look pretty cool. It is a good creative team, but I am suspect on this cover. I'm with you, Ed. It's there's a lot going on in that cover.
Yeah, why not show the Bat Castle on the cover? I feel like it could have been done so much better. I want to see the Bat Castle.
I prefer like back in the day when the cover art would be like a dramatic scene that happens within the story, but it would be altered or changed. Maybe the outcome was a little bit more dreadful or something like that, and then that event would actually end up happening in the comic. But here we seem to have some type of standoff between the dark multiverse versions of the Trinity, and their foes.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Obviously, it is written by Scott Snyder, who is the architect of Dark Knight's Death Metal. We don't get Greg Capullo on this one, but he is obviously on the main series. But Francis Manapul, great artist, definitely seems interesting. 48 pages. I'm assuming these are all going to run $6. Obviously, we'll see. But this is definitely one I'm planning on checking out.
Same. I'm really excited for this one. This is probably the one I'm most excited for. And I will say another thing I do actually like about the cover is the mystic chainsaw or whatever that is that Wonder Woman's rocking. I want to see her use that so bad.
The chainsaw of truth.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got Superman with his dust knuckles and Batman holding the scythe and things. So this does look a lot more like the just the colors wise, kind of like the what was it? The Free Comic Book Day that DC Comics was going to be doing with I think it was Year Zero, where we had Wally West on the cover with all the different multiverses.
Yeah, the colors kind of remind me a bit of another thing that Francis Manapul worked on, which was it led up to Scott Snyder's Justice League run. Remember how there was 4 different teams and you had Deathstroke and Batman on a team with some other. Yes, that's what it reminds me of.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see that as well. That one definitely had a very interesting art take. Obviously, Scott Snyder's Justice League is leading directly into Dark Knight's Death Metal, so it makes sense. Also, glad they brought back Francis Manapul. Let's talk about the second one. This is the one that I'm actually the more excited about. Dark Knight's Death Metal Speed Metal #1, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Eddy Barrows and Eber Ferreira. It's the drag race from hell, taking place after the events of Dark Knight's Death Metal #3. The Darkest Night is after Wally West and his Dr. Manhattan powers. Thankfully, Wally has backup in the form of Barry Allen, Jerry Garrick, and Wallace West. It's a knockdown, drag-out race through the wastelands as the Flash family tries to stay steps ahead of the Darkest Night and his Lightning Knights. So obviously that is a reference to the Batman Who Laughs, who is apparently hunting down the Flash family through the wastelands. I do like this cover much more. That's a Howard Porter cover. Obviously, he was a longtime artist with Joshua Williamson on the Flash. This one, as better composition, we obviously have the 4 heroes running over a wasteland of skulls with it looks to be evil versions of the Flash chasing after them, and then a big ominous version of the Batman Who Laughs standing over them. I think it's pretty dope.
Me too. I agree. It's much better than the other cover or either cover. It's really good. And I think all the designs for each character look awesome. I love what Jay Garrick is rocking there with the chains. I think he looks really cool. Barry's black suit looks awesome. Obviously, the Dr. Manhattan suit that we've already seen before looks cool. And then Wallace West has a really cool kind of gladiator / futurist looking like thing going on that I like. But yeah, that cover's great, and definitely the premise sounds cool. The Batman Who Laughs hunting them down with his what were they called, lightning knights or whatever. I think it's really cool seeing them all like on the run. And also, I hope they sort of mention a little bit more of Heroes in Crisis. As much as I hate that book, I kind of want them to like reconcile it a bit in this, because last time Barry saw Wally was when he was getting put in prison after murdering several people and framing others. So I hope they kind of cover that a little bit so we can get past it completely.
So I'm in a weird position here. Well, I think Joshua Williamson is a great Flash writer. I think his run on the Flash is going to go down as not seminal, but it's certainly classic. It's something that people are going to go back and read. But Scott Lobdell on Flash Forward, which obviously leads into this, that's where we got that version of Wally West as Dr. Manhattan on the Mobius chair. I kind of wish he was writing it, but I also suspect Lobdell is probably working on something else, hopefully with Brett Booth. But I think this is going to be excellent, and I think Eddy Barrows is just criminally underrated. Obviously, he was James Tynion's creative partner when they relaunched Detective Comics. He also recently did the Freedom Fighters with Robert Venditti, but he's going to bring great art in there.
Oh yeah, he's one of the best, and that was mentioned in these. That's all the artists are actually pretty solid, but he's definitely one of the ones I'm looking most forward to. And it's cool to see him on something different like this, because he doesn't really do Flash or these type of books most of the time. So he did some back in like mid 2000s Superman. I remember he drew some Flash during that. I think like J. Michael Krasinski's run, he drew some of that, but seeing him on this book would be cool, and seeing his interpretation of the Batman Who Laughs and the Lightning Knights, I'm excited for. And I'm honestly happy, as much as I love Flash Forward, and I do agree that it was better than most of what Williamson has written with Flash. I don't really foresee Lobdell keeping up that consistency. He hasn't really shown that on any other book, to where Williamson, I feel like, has been much more consistent. So I'm fine with Williamson doing this over Lobdell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that one's a must buy. That's the one I'm the most excited about. It has the character Williamson is most known for. Love Eddy Barrows' art, and I think the cover is dope. So let's talk about the last one. This is the one I'm the most iffy about. It's got the oddest cast of characters, but let's talk about Dark Knight's Death Metal Multiverses N #1. This is going to be written by James Tynion IV, art by Juan Gedeon. He's definitely the artist I know the least about, but everything I've seen looks solid by him. And it says, Perpetua, mother of all existence, is called all life and creation in the multiverse, condensing all beings to one planet, Earth Prime. In her quest for power and dominance, she rules absolutely and in totality, using her children, the Monitors and Anti-Monitors, as her heralds and destructors. But a group of heroes has banded together across multiple worlds in a last-ditch effort to stop her from destroying all existence. Owlman, President Superman, Iris West, Captain Carrick, Guy Gardner, and others choose to make their final stand in a battle they're destined to lose. So this one's pretty interesting because I think James Tynion is really hot right now. He's obviously worked with Scott Snyder in the past. They've collaborated a lot. But I am skeptical about the characters, and I don't love this cover either. It appears to be a giant spaceship is crashing down to Earth. We see Owlman in the bottom right corner. President Superman from Earth 2.
Yeah, from Earth 2.
Yeah, and then we see, obviously, Uncle Sam. He was just in Freedom Fighters. Haven't seen Guy Gardner much, so that's a good inclusion. Iris West. Don't remember seeing her in that costume. At first, I thought she might have been Bart Allen grown up because he normally wears glasses. Looks like we got an evil version of Batman clinging on. But the one character that does catch my eye, and I've never actually read him, is Captain Carrick. Like I'm tempted to go out and find some Captain Carrick comics because I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I like Usagi Yojimbo, and I like the idea of a character like that being in the DC universe.
Yeah, the cover's kind of a mess. They just threw like every character they had in this book on the cover. The plot sounds interesting enough. I don't really care about most of these characters or Perpetua. I'm not a big fan of Perpetua, But it does sound interesting them banding all together to try as a last ditch effort, like these sort of heroes that no one ever really thinks about going after the most powerful being in the multiverse. So that's an interesting concept. But yeah, this is one that I'm probably not going to pick up. I plan on picking up the other two, but this one I'm probably just going to skip on unless I hear a lot of great things about it. But yeah, other than that, I'm probably not going to pick this book up.
So Perpetua is interesting. That is the new big bad that Scott Snyder introduced during Justice League. But you don't think it was executed all that well? And obviously, she's not being thought of as maybe as important as the Batman Who Laughs and some of these other characters like Darkseid. If you have this group of characters are the ones that are dealing with her, and I assume they're going to lose. But maybe they'll take her out.
Yeah, it's so after the whole source wall broke, she came back and Lex Luthor sort of brought her back to life. She was the original creator of like the entire multiverse, and then she had her children, the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor, and then the World Forger, I believe that's his name. And from there they like betrayed her and I think got her stuck in the source wall or behind the source wall, something like that. And then she came back and Lex was like worshiping her for whatever reason, which didn't make sense for his character at all. And she was planning on turning everyone into like human Martian hybrids because that's how she originally intended like humanity to be for some reason. It was a mess. I enjoyed most of Scott Snyder's Justice League run. It was pretty fun, but some of the bigger aspects of it, when he tried to get like too far outside of things and tried to go to big plans, like I didn't enjoy that aspect of it. Perpetua wasn't executed all that well to me.
Yeah, that's the one thing you can say about Scott Snyder. He never plays it safe.
That is for sure.
So definitely an interesting array of 3 books. I'm glad these aren't anthologies. I want actual like real story. I want individual stories about these characters. I'm still holding out hope that we will get origin stories of some of these new versions of Batman. Doesn't look like we are going to get them, but fingers crossed here. But these do look pretty cool. Definitely Speed Metal is definitely the one I'm most excited about. But Death Metal Trinity Crisis looks pretty dope as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just flipped on that. I think Trinity Crisis looks the most exciting to me, and then I'm really excited for Speed Metal as well.
I'm definitely excited. You're excited. Is there anything else that you needed to say, Dylan, before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. I'm happy with the creative teams. Like even though the Multiverse's End book isn't the most exciting to me, at least they got a solid creative team on it. Yeah,
it's like the exact opposite of Marvel. If this was Marvel and they had some spin-off one-shots, it would be and a bunch of writers that you've never even heard of, writing this with artists that they just found on Tumblr.
Yeah, and then maybe a really cool cover that looks nothing like the interior art.
Alex Ross covers.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the Marvel way.
Yeah, it's nuts, folks. They're definitely doing it right, and I'm glad they did bring in their premier talent. Dylan, thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me on, man.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.